they'll just win because they've shown us that they are the superior team, at least in this matchup in terms of macro sense.
I want to see a Gragas ban here third too. I like the Rise ban. I really want to see a Gragas ban because I mean that's pretty much Smithy's champion. I feel like it just sets up too much for CLG when he plays it.
I mean, when you guys were talking about it earlier, you would argue that Gragas is probably the higher priority ban if you're going to ban one or the other, right? Between Rise and Gragas. I mean, Gragas, of course, affecting the whole team. It is Smithy's champion, etc. Whereas Rise, you guys are saying a part of it, he was getting all of that fed to him.
Elise.
But it looks like they're going to go with the Elise.
I'm actually really surprised because CLG, if they had banned Gragas, CLG probably would have just banned Kindred, and then you can either take the Rek'Sai or the GP first, but Gangplank is going to get through.
Okay.
So historically in the Kespa Cup, when Gangplank is available on blue side, we saw him almost 100% picked. Didn't see it here today as much at IEM, but Gangplank is one of the best late game scaling champions you can get, but he really suffers in the early to mid game, just doesn't have the Triforce, has a very expensive build pass. You need the Infinity Edge, you need the Yomus, you need the Triforce. Once he gets there, it's absolutely insane what he can do with a single barrel, but getting there is the issue, and we didn't see Unicorns of Love really in a position to take that the game late enough to justify a champion like Gangplank.
Well, Gangplank also kind of puts off a lot of the early game aggression. Once you're at level 6, if you try to do a tower dive or try to do any really aggressive plays, that ultimate can do 600 to 700 AoE damage if you get some bad RNG, and I think they just have to be really careful about that. I think that's going to slow down the pace of the game a lot.
All right, and you know, the picks, Gragas not surprising at all, as you guys mentioned, Smithy's comfort. For the GP, so we're assuming, of course, most likely mid going here for Fox on Unicorns of Love. Or do you think, well, you never know, neither mid or top has been picked yet? Well,
they just answered that.
never mind. I was going to try to go off on that a little bit, but Unicorns of Love bringing us the answers here with that Kassadin pick.
Yeah, it's really weird to see them just show that pick and then just be like, hey, these are our lanes. You know, we're both melee. We're pretty vulnerable early. We're both weak scaling. And they're hiding their 80, I mean, not weak scaling, but they're just weak overall, like first 6 levels. They just get run over by everybody. And then they didn't show their ADC or their jungle. Like, why would you want to hide your jungle here? I don't
it's
get it.
interesting because it's just an exact shift of what we saw in the previous game. It's like, okay, last game was all about early game. This time it's going to be all about late game. That was the problem. We got it.
At the same time, aren't both of them, like you said, I mean, they pretty much get caught by anyone. On top of that, sure, with Gangplank, you can get out of something, but with the Gragas, and then you have anyone who has hard CC in the lane. Like, isn't both top and mid pretty much done here for Unicorns early on?
I would be very concerned if I was Unicorns of Love. Taking that jungle, like a jungle AD carry right there, is probably the best thing they could have done, unless they have something very surprising. There's a Riven.
I love the Riven matchup here. Riven absolutely destroys Gangplank. It's disgusting how bad he runs him over. And then on top of that, it's not like you can lane swap. Like, haha, we got Gangplank, mid Kassadin on top, because that's a terrible matchup too. So unless they have like
so they will go with the Orianna mid and the Kassadin jungle.
Yeah, or we get the chaos style. It's coming
back.
All right, whatever.
Why do we even talk about Unicorns pick ban if stuff's just going to go into weird lanes? We should just like wait until the whole team is locked in.
Hey, some teams you just got to do that, but going with the Elise and for Gillis, might as well give him something that he can try to shine in later on in the game when everyone is fed, if the game goes that far. I mean, especially with Tristana now too. I mean, Unicorns really, they're just hanging on for dear life to say, hey, we can win later.
If it ever gets pick Tristana and Lee Sin. Look, I just don't get it. If you're going to pick them earlier and don't make CLG show you a solo lane, blind picking the Kassadin, and we'll see what answer CLG actually has for it.
And there were so many picks still left on the board. They're not really denying that much from the mid lane. Lysandre's still a very viable pick, regardless of lane matchups, very useful in the current meta. Twisted Fate, not something we've seen so much, but definitely can offer a lot of map mobility potentially to match up the Gangplank and that cannon barrage there. I mean, as we see hoverovers here, it's very aware, they're clearly, CLG is very aware of how much they need to win in the early game to punish this composition, because they're picking 2 very snowbally champions here for their solo lanes.
So the LeBlanc Kassadin matchup is actually really bad for Kassadin 1 through 6, but once you start getting levels, and especially in team fights, you can assassinate LeBlanc before she can get on you. And on top of that, you have your Q as well, so she can't actually duel you or trade you in the mid and late game. So I don't think it's like a very good counter pick for them, but I mean, I think the Riven's just going to do all the work in this game.
That seems to be the bigger concern. I mean, sure, and even then, even for Kassadin, until that level 6, we'll see how much damage they do in that mid lane. But if the top just gets absolutely destroyed and Riven starts stomping on everyone, I mean, that's your classic solo Q terror.
I think you have to look for a lane swap here if you're
Yeah.
Unicorns of Love. Just try and have faith that you can trade the turrets with the Tristana against the Jinx early on and see if Gangplank can pick up the scraps long enough in order to make it into that late game where he does become that real terror. But they should play very defensively in as much as they can. But again, they have very low wave clear, so it's going to be tough for them to hold on to their outer turrets if they end up in standard lanes.
Which is why it's interesting that they picked up the Cassidy here in the mid lane after taking the Gangplank. I feel like Gangplank going mid offers so much wave clear, lets you stall out the game very well, and Cassidy is just the opposite. I mean, obviously, Force Pulse, as we saw in LGD TSM earlier on today, just not a reliable way to clear out waves.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, what could be the last game of the day? This is game 2 between CLG and Unicorns of Love. If you've missed any of the games so far, or if you know that you might have to step away from your computer for a little bit during this game, don't forget to check out Plays.tv for a bunch of highlights. And we do have some other extra VODs from the point of view of the players and other content on there. So go check that out. But for now, time to find out if CLG is going to close it out 2-0 or if Unicorns is going to bring it to game 3 over on the commentary desk with Doa, Crepo, and Freak.
Thank you, Chobra, and welcome everyone to Game 2 between CLG and Unicorns of Love here at IEM San Jose. Some interesting stuff in the picks and bans here as we move on to Summoner's Rift. What do you guys think?
I kind of agree with what all the sort of experts were saying. Is like, hey, you've got a pretty low wave for your team, except for Gangplank, who's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that, like, he needs to get to late game, and then his ult can stop any push ever on the other side of the map, so he's good at getting himself to late game. And you can, like, do barrel tricks to clear waves as well, but, like, it's only GP that can do that reliably. Like, he's the one guy that can make this work, and so I think it's just, like, a ton of weight on Vizichachi's shoulders.
Yeah, I just think UOL, they lost the draft on their own. Like, they didn't even, like, get out-picked by CLG. Just going for that Gangplank Cassidy combination early, just like Montecristo said, hiding Tristana Thresh later on, like, just there's no really point, or Tristana Lee Sin rather later on, no point doing that. The only thing I don't like on CLG's composition is the LeBlanc pick into the Cassidy, because I think that's a matchup that Cassidy does fairly well in.
Well, here we go. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, Unicorns of Love versus CLG. Unicorns of Love trying to tie things up. They are down a game right now. This is only a best of 3. If CLG takes this game, they win the series and move on to day 2. Doesn't get much more serious than this.
Just like the analyst desk was expecting, we're poised for a lane swap.
It's
We
going to
were
be the
last
standard.
game too, but then.
Yeah, and looks like standard double jungling as well. This is actually correct as well by the Gangplank. Even though, like, you feel like you'd want to start parlay and, like, kill some little things to get some money, it's actually correct. I want to see if he attacks the monster first or if he attacks the barrel first to refresh the thing. So yeah, he's going to attack the monster, hit the barrel, immediately barrel again, and then about 3 auto attacks later, you can blow it up again, get more fire, and that's kind of the best way you can clear these waves.
Wow. Jungle training with Freak.
Yeah, I've played a lot of, like, double jungle GP. And then he should have one, like, cast max range. Actually, he should have one already pre-prepared, which he does. Good. I saw the ring.
Oh.
And he blows it up at the very start and clears the Raptors really fast.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, red buff start for
like
both teams
600
here.
bonus damage total off the E.
Darshan's like, we're finishing up this red buff. Oh, there's people in my lane. Never mind, I'm not going there anymore.
Yep. So an extended jungle pathing, it looks like. Hylissang, gonna phase check in. This is not what he wants. He plays backwards, but he's just gonna die. Hylissang, why ever do that?
And he got caught so many times in game number 1, now in game number 2, getting caught right away and giving Darshan that first blood on Riven is the last thing that Unicorns of Love needs.
Yeah, more importantly, he can just walk into the lane right now because Tristana can't freeze, there's no wave manipulation, because there's a threat of the Thresh is gone. Yes, Chachi goes to the bottom lane and mirrors that, but Riven Snowball, the one champion you don't want to snowball in this match already with first blood.
It's going to be pretty tough for Unicorns of Love early on. I mean, it's on Darshan now to kind of keep that momentum going, right?
Sure, I think he can do a lot with this, though. It depends on when Thresh gets back in, if they can stop that from happening. I mean, Riven is very, very melee, so, and dealing with Thresh as a melee champion can be quite difficult, so he might get the 8 CS and never get any more, whereas Gangplank can actually withstand Jinx, reasonably well.
Yeah. See jungler head up top here. Aframu, still level 1, I believe? Warding in the jungle, just facilitating that top lane for Darshan. Just wants to avoid the dive or at least see it coming. Then that mid lane matchup, LeBlanc to Cassidy, it's all about using Cassidy and Q on the LeBlanc at all times. Never ever do you want to use it on the minion because down the line it'll cost you more. And then when LeBlanc dashes in, you want to proc your W. That does a lot of damage, and that's kind of the way you want to keep these trades even and just get even in CS, and eventually you outscale.
Makes sense. Well, we know that Darshan's going to need to be Also very careful on this Riven too. We already saw Gilius up towards that top part of the map. They really want to take him out early, break that momentum. But
CLG Afro up there, of course, he roamed all the way
ready.
up. So better 2v2 lane, though it's still not a good 2-on-2 lane. Like compared to Gangplank versus Jinx, which is actually completely fine for Gangplank. You can see 18 CS. He's practically got more than the enemy mid laner, just chilling in a what you'd expect to normally be a crap lane for Vizicachi. But Darshan's getting denied, despite getting first blood, then TPing in, getting double longsword. Maybe that helps it a little bit, but the holding pattern right now, actually, I think is not in the favor of CLG.
Stixxay on his own down in bot lane against Vizicachi should be able to farm fairly safely. He's got some wards to keep him aware of any ganks that might be coming in as well. Like Smithy lurking around the jungle of Unicorns of Love right now, but I don't think he's really going to get an opportunity to find anyone.
He's expecting Gilius to go back to the bottom side of the jungle now. He's expecting the pathing and not really finding it, and then looking for a gank onto Fox, but I don't know if mid lane's actually pushing out right now, so I'm not sure if he's ever going to find that kind of play. Ooh, a great hook, though. Does land Afro a good flay as well. Means a couple hundred damage.
Yeah, a little bit of damage onto Alframu. He's got that sustain, of course, on the Alistar, but it does hurt CLG a little bit. They'll continue to be pushed under turret, and you can see already the health of that top lane turret getting taken out little by little.
Yeah, Steelback respecting the Q flash from Afro, though. That's what he's afraid of. Q flash into Riven damage into the tower, and then you kind of have to jump out there. To escape, so he can't really hit that tower too much.
There's enough displacement tools between the third Riven Q as well as Alistair's Q and W that like you can't rely on a lantern or rocket jump. This one he does get away with.
He does.
Again, an Afro. This is not good for the Alistair. The Hillsong cannot find the damage with Ignite. Steelback again taking the bad end of a trade, but Gilius is in up towards this one. Stixxay will block the Q and Gilius will not chase through.
A flash is used on both sides. No deaths in the top or bottom lane from that conflict. CLG, they kind of look like they're just trying to hold on at this point. Unicorns of Love going for a very not going for the early Dragon Gilius.
No, he's sneaking through with the Q. Yeah,
I see. Sneaky Lee Sin,
who he's still trying to harass down. Of course, Flask pulls Ruby Crystal on Fox. Not getting pushed out of lane too terribly fast though. Is still down in CS, but has Summoner Teleport to use if he needs to get back to lane in a pinch or into a gank on the side of the map. Steelback missing about 4 CS under the turret, sadly, and it's an 8 CS difference between the two 80 carries.
Not too much to worry about now. And speaking of CS, up in top lane, Darshan pretty equal to Vizicachi at the moment. Not too far behind.
Fighting the bottom lane though right now. Stixxay running away from Vizicachi. It takes the bad end of a trade. And I was talking about this matchup not being very good for the Jinx. And as soon as 6 hits, Vizicachi says, "You can't escape from my ultimate," cuts off the retreat and does a really good job winning that one-on-one.
Yeah, Stixxay still sitting on Flash. He just wanted to get that BF money. He was so close. On 0 kills and assists. It is again 55 CS, and he was just looking to push in that last wave. See what happens.
Oh, he's actually nice, yeah. Auto into Q, so good setup on his own barrel there, and then says, "You know what? My summoners are back or my cooldowns are back. This will be easy."
That it was not like a massive. That was just predictable in the sense that Vizicachi would go for that play. So Stixxay not playing with the necessary respect and just really wanting that BF sword and that wave into the tower.
Never used his flash either. Do you think he maybe could have snuck?
I think he didn't think he was going to lose. He's like, I have a minion wave and I have flame chompers. I think he thought he would win the fight.
Seemed that way.
His last competitive match was months ago in the challenger scene. Like, how often do you 1v1 a Gangplank as Jinx? Almost never, right? So I think it's unfamiliarity.
Could be. And now with that, Vizicachi takes a nice big lead over Darshan.
And that was one of the main worries from the analyst desk. Is this Gangplank going to hit the late game? Are the Unicorns going to reach it? And right now, comfortably set so. Sheen and Avarice right there, but Darshan can still all-in him because there's no really defensive stats on this Gangplank.
Wow. Impeccable timing there. There was no window. I mean, that was practically frame perfect. This guy should play fighting games. Parry everything.
No, we want to watch him play.
No, I know. I'm happy. But that was actually quite impressive.
Yeah. Looks like CLG is still going to get the first turret of the game, though, at some point in the future. I didn't mean right now, of course.
He probably could have greeted for it without being in that much threat, but...
I thought so, too. That's what I thought we were...
Because you get excited and get away, and it's like no big deal.
And this is actually the breaking point of this matchup. Once Cassidy picks up Catalyst, it becomes incredibly for LeBlanc to continuously out-sustain because all of your moves are pretty telegraphed. You have enough time in Distortion to launch Cassidy Q. If not, any follow-up damages, Sigil or Chains, they get magic shielded by the Cassidy Q proccing. You have the W, Cassidy can chase after if LeBlanc makes a mistake, and the additional sustain from Catalyst makes it so that it's almost impossible for LeBlanc to get solo kills. Something she kind of thrives at, right? That's why you pick LeBlanc usually.
Yeah. And maybe late game she can go for some pick plays, but there's no black shield to go for like the really aggressive, like distortion QRs. So, yeah, might lose some of the impact of this champion in this game. Fox still trying to farm up. Down 11 CS is not where he really wants to be, but we'll suffer through that for now and keep trying to scale up on this Kassadin.
Oh,
Can't actually ult anymore. He actually spent too much mana. He's 4 stacks on Riftwalk.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing with Huhi coming in with full health, full mana, but Fox able to walk off for the moment. Now some action up in top lane, Stixxay and Aframu.
2v3, Summoner TP just used by Vizicsacsi to come down towards a ward nearby. Hook onto Stixxay. Here comes the kickback as well. They got all the damage they needed. Hillsong is low, but no one's around to stop him. Vizicsacsi may be a bit late to the party as Smithy is here, ults him back in. Darshan, flash, stun, and a big knockup as well.
Darshan, the hero right there, setting it up for Huhi to pick up that kill in mid. Or with the mid laner in the top lane anyway. CLG not done yet. Gilius in trouble. Can they catch him? They certainly can.
Wow.
Smithy with a kill. That's going to be a turret for CLG on top of everything. Nice lead now.
Now he lives.
Ooh.
That looked really interesting at the start, but Aframu did a good thing. He flashed over the hook, outplayed the Thresh with a Q flash. Unluckily for him, CLG was Stixxay was standing right behind him. He got hooked, so they kind of all in him, but like TP and a really good flash stun there from Riven.
Let's watch that again.
Yeah, that ulti was kind of.
He wants to push him forward, right?
As well, and look at that hook. You know, Aframu flashes over it, but now all the attention goes to Stixxay. And at this point, Unicorns kind of win, but they all funnel into the same area, trying to save Vizicsacsi here, and that's their mistake. They should have just left him hanging, like going for the help here when Riven has flash. Look at this.
Beautiful. Beautiful stun and a team fight win for CLG as Huhi comes in unopposed on that LeBlanc.
I think even Fox got ulti. That was a 4-man ulti from Darshan right there.
That's pretty amazing. Huhi with some pressure in the mid lane now. So Unicorns of Love, I feel like the later this goes, they'll be doing okay. Oh, never mind, some action down the bot lane. Steel Bake onto that Flame Chompers.
Yeah,
Chompers 6-8 backing off.
Yeah, Gilius is there.
Yeah, nice trap on Gilius to keep him away. Here comes Huhi. Huhi and Smithy coming down. They may want to dive this.
Spotted by a ward though, so this dive's not going to happen much. It's like, yeah, it's going to be nothing. He doesn't even get off the diving board there. So no points, nothing gained. Maybe they can try again later, but the 3 people still defending.
They have zone on the dive though. Top lane, you see a skirmish.
Darshan tries to find Vizicsacsi. Gets that barrel before it goes off. Vizicsacsi could be in trouble. He doesn't have ult quite yet. Can't get away. There's a kill for Darshan, and CLG, meanwhile, takes another turret in the bot lane. That's 2-0 for them.
Yeah, so top lane gets solo killed, bot lane turret goes down. All Fox did was sit there, pushing down mid lane. He's got teleport, by the way. He could have shown up and maybe punished the top lane fight, maybe roam down to the bot lane and turn that something around.
Definitely agree. Kassadin is not a champion and has the quickest wave clear in the mid lane. Has to ulti, all attack, it creeps a couple of times. Your E is still on very low ranks right here, so you don't have the AoE wave clear to punish that tower. As a Kassadin, you should roam, you should match, you should help your other laners, because even if you get half the damage on that tower, you just fall so far behind. And I agree with Dola right when he said, yeah, late game Unicorns have it, but right now they're crumbling. The lack of wave clear is punishing them, and CLG 2 towers and a dragon ahead now.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Well, the Beatles might have been wrong when they said all you need is love, because right now love's not helping them very much. CLG up 1-0, and maybe looking to close out the second one, up 3,000 gold. There's the Gangplank ulti. There's the ability to stall just a little bit. But next wave's going to be hitting up pretty soon.
Well, chances of Unicorns of Love's victory may be about the same chances of seeing a unicorn in real life. At this point, unless they turn things around in a hurry, as that mid lane turret goes down. Hillsang throws out the hook, can't quite land it onto Huhi. And CLG with all outer turrets taken down now.
And this is something we saw last game as well. Unicorns, they kind of forced themselves to play a smaller map. Very early, do you see their main carries group up sharing farm, and it's just a path into ruin. When you see CLG actually kept the map open, they kept it wide. Nice vision in between. Yes, they maybe screwed up a couple of times overreaching, but their macro play keeps in mind that you have to get as much experience and farm on all 3 lanes at the same time to just get ahead of your opponent. And Unicorns, because they don't have the best vision control, they're defaulting to this very small map. But then when they're grouped, they have issues forcing a play.
Yeah. And now Vizicsacsi needs to be so careful whenever he's in a 1v1 situation against this Riven. I mean, 3-0-2 Lots of damage coming out of Darshan right now.
Yeah, the matchup only gets worse. He's really never going to get to the point where he ever one-shots the Riven ever again, but Darshan's getting more and more cooldown reduction. He's at 20% just from items right now, meaning it's probably going to be just finish the Black Cleaver for max CDR. He's sitting, I'm just going to check real quick to be sure, but yeah, he's sitting on 35 CDR with his current itemization, so that'll be an easy spike to hit.
Makes sense. Meanwhile, the mid lane battle has been taken down to the bot lane as Huhi and Fox contest over this bottom tier 2 turret.
That's risky.
A little bit.
I always hold my breath when I'm a support and I see my AD carry path behind me into that corridor. Luckily, no punish there.
Yep. Meanwhile, CLG makes a move on this tier 2 turret down in bot lane. Fox zoned out. Here comes Gilius. Where's the Gangplank ultimate? It's not available quite yet, and that's going to allow CLG to do a lot of damage. Fox and Gilius trying to find a way to push CLG off. They do for now. But how long can they keep that turret alive?
Maybe one more time, because CLG is always there first. They get half the turret. Sometimes they manage to secure the dive. Sometimes UOL shows up to defend after losing half the health here, but there's never anything else picked up in return. UOL is still pushing down the mid lane outer right now with their AD carry and support.
UOL went mid looking to trade. CLG's wave is not there, so they kind of just moving to the jungle into Fog of War, forcing UOL backwards before returning back to the bot lane. Many teams right there would have just traded tier 2 for tier 1, but what CLG do right there is play with vision to make a pick.
Wow.
Gilius.
That was a ridiculous amount of damage right there. Beautiful bait by CLG. They own the jungle so well. They own vision and darkness.
Yeah, just the use of Fog of War there was really, really well played by CLG. They knew exactly where there were wards and where they weren't, and they used that to their advantage. Many teams would have lost their tier 1 tower there and not made that pick in return with the pressure.
This new CLG roster is looking very, very tight. I mean, for a group that has not played together too much, they're looking so coordinated, and you have to credit it to players like Aframuix, Smith, you know, being able to keep everyone together, and it's working.
The shot calling's still on point, and everyone else is following directions very well. This is CLG playing the same style that CLG did back at Worlds even. Now, back at Worlds, they had teams like KOO, Tigers able to figure them out, and I mean, they're better players than UOL, obviously, so you know, when you're kind of unopposed in your lanes in a lot of cases, this is what CLG looks like. Yeah,
this was more the CLG of NALCS, and at the same time, while Unicorns of Love replaced 3 members, it's still the Unicorns of Love from the EULCS. Lacking in shot calling, picking lane matchups, not really have cohesive drafts, screwing up their draft, honestly, picking champions early that they shouldn't, hiding trivial picks to later, and then playing the game the way they're doing it. No synergy between jungle and support.
Yeah, that pick ban was really odd. We're going to be perplexed about that one for a while. An attempted dive onto Darshan. They're going to get him in there against the wall.
Nice.
And that could be a kill. It will be for Unicorns of Love. No, yes, it will. There we go. Bomb goes off. Force steal back. He's going to get that one Tristana. Meanwhile, Hillsang could be in a bit of trouble. Aframu, there's the knockup. Where's the rest of CLG? 6A coming in from the side. And can Aframu keep this turret alive? I don't know, man. Don't think so. Vizichachi gets that one. Now Stixay and Aframu on the run. Hook not connecting with the AD carry. But there goes the cow. A kill for Unicorns of Love. Steelback picks up another one.
Yeah, and as we're playing CLG for Immaculate Macro game, we see them defend the tier 1 tower where they shouldn't. And he went like back to the top lane, now roaming back to the bot lane.
Caster Jinx, man, and now Unicorns of Love have brought this right back again.
Oh, Smithy.
Oh, wow. They just knock in steel back. Can they land it? No. Yes. Holy cow. The ulti gets him. Huhi ignited. Able to walk away pretty clean. Stixay wants in. So does Zion. And look at these kills coming through. Everyone's dropping left, right, and center. Gilius, the last man alive, finds the Q, finds the kill. Can't find much more. Wind Slash says thank you very much. That's the ace for CLG.
It was not the cleanest ace ever, but it was an ace, and CLG has brought things right back again. You know, now the question is, what can they get out of this? They need to get some more deep wards in. They need to maybe, what do you think? Do you think they can get tier 2 in mid?
The best they can do is pretty much reset this one. A lot of guys lost health. They're missing their AD carry. They can maintain the map, and they've got to recall back and get their items in.
Yeah, this right here, double body slam flash into triple cast that hits and displaces them into a perfect triangle. That's like the ideal scenario as Dragus. You want to isolate a priority target. Hui goes in, he has to distortion back, but look at Darshan coming in from the backside. He teleported in, forces 3 flashes with that play too. So not only does CLG get the ace, they pretty much take all summoners off the board for the Unicorns. Yeah, Stixay is a little greedy here, but I think that's fine. CLG right now 5,000 gold in the lead.
Smithy actually mad life with body slam as well. He predicted the jump over and actually hit him mid safeguard.
It's like CLG should be able to pick up their second dragon of the game at this point as well. out of this fight we just saw. And so things going all CLG's way at the moment.
Yeah, just look at the summoners left of your screen. All down across the board.
He gets a stun onto Fox. Aframu looking for something. Gilius there in the jungle to support Unicorns of Love, though, so CLG not going to pull the trigger on that one. Need to be a little bit more careful as they back away, back towards that Baron pit. And it's only about 35 seconds till Baron comes back up again. And CLG needs to be ready, and they need to have enough health to do something about it if Unicorns of Love tries something.
Yeah, padding Barons is usually the only way to get back into the game. So you definitely, with the likes of Gangplank, who could do it really quickly, Tristana has some decent damage on Baron. But CLG's wards right now, they have that sneaky pink ward in the top left. They have a couple of wards around. Darshan's also constantly pushing bottom. So if Gangplank doesn't show up to defend that bottom lane, it's very indicative of what the Unicorns are planning. And I think CLG will be ready for that play.
Certainly seems that way. Unicorns of Love still fighting for that mid lane tier 1. 20 minutes in, they've only managed to secure 1 turret.
Yeah, not a pretty game for these guys. Backs against the wall. Losing this game means they are out of the tournament. Unicorns of Love were a finalist at this thing last year. So far, not looking amazing for these guys. CLG about to make it 2 North American teams in the top 4. If they win, they battle the Jin Air Green Wings.
And the CLG TSM.
CLG TSM final.
Is still alive.
Oh, I mean...
The hope.
Yeah.
Of NA.
North American final was really the IEM San Jose final precursor, so just get ready for that one.
Very different TSMs and CLGs this time around, though, from the NALCS Summer Finals.
Well, I mean, still like 9 people from the combined rosters were there, right? Like, well, okay, that's a little bit excessive, but he was like the technical sub, Doublelift was in the game anyway.
The shuffling has been intense. Smithy in a little bit of trouble. I might call that intense as well. Manages to dodge that hook as CLG backs up again. They've got control over the Baron pit right now, and they're going to grab that blue buff for Huhi as well.
Yeah, we're likely not going to see any extensive plays here by CLG. It's a little early, 20 minutes on the board to really force that Baron play, but they're just going to keep doing what they've been doing. They're going to force mistakes from the Unicorns and then punish them. The same way last game we saw people just overextending, trying to make the play on CLG, and then Smithy turning that around with a body slam flash into Cask. Because Darshan has complete control of the bot side of the map here. He has 3 wards keeping him safe. Split push is going fine. CLG, the one mistake they could do here is just rush the play.
Yeah.
Now Vizicachi is still scaling up. In the prior team fight, he had just hit Trinity Force. Now he's on the way towards Infinity Edge. Oh, yeah.
Gotta be careful there.
If you play it right, you can do a lot of damage on this champion. But Darshan wants to go in, finds a bit of stun on Fox, but a great whip block keeps him safe. And Darshan does overextend, finds a bit of burst, but not enough to kill someone. Turret does go down. CLG running away, but slowed.
Well, gives his life for that mid lane turret. Gangplank ultimate, though, keeps CLG close by. Unicorns of Love still rasping the way out. Aframu in a lot of trouble. Gets played, gets hooked, gets in trouble. Double knockup, gets in. Wow. And CLG turn it around. What a play by Aframu. That is the type of coordination that are going to send these guys to day 2. A double kill for Huhi.
Yeah, you could tell they were ready for that play. As after tournament with Flash Cube, both Huhi and Styx, they were already looking for the follow-up. So that means there was communication in the fact that Afro said, well, I'm about to turn. So really good communication there from CLG. Again, waiting for the overreach. They kind of forced the play initially, but then Unicorns, their hand got a little stuck in the cookie jar.
Well, that cookie jar is going to cost him a mid inhibitor. It looks like it's getting very low. Aframu, low health, goes in anyway. Smithy dodges, doesn't connect with that body slam. Gets the slow, which should let CLG get out. Sans their support, but hey, for an inhibitor, I'd take it.
Yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles right here. And wow, what a great hook onto Smithy. Hillsong honestly doing so much work for this team. 7 out of 8 kills he's assisted in so far, but it's a big uphill battle for UOL.
I feel so bad for Hillsong. He went for the flash hook play, predicting the distortion back. Usually, as we see Huhi flash over the wall here and still back chasing Styx.
Gotta be careful here, Huhi.
Fox has a lot of ulti still left though. Plenty mana pool.
And going back to that play, usually people panic distortion back, and Huhi was just kind of too slow. So that was the equivalent of, damn, dude, my team is too bronze for my epic predictions.
Weren't you ready for me to go in? He furiously types in all caps. Not that I've ever done that.
Never.
No, not me.
I usually play 80 carries. I'm like, why didn't you guys engage with me? Like, why were you in first as the marksman? I'd be like, because I'm bad.
Need protection.
Yeah.
See, that's when I'm like, repot 80 carry 9x.
Aww. I just got called a scumbag Yankee while I was flagging Korea.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
They called me that. I was like, I don't think you know what that means. I'm European. Anyways.
You are wearing roughly red, white, and blue right now, Crepo, though. So
Cheering for NA, I'm sure, deep down.
Deep down, there's a Yankee
right.
inside.
I can feel it. Well, CLG taking a little bit of control over the map now. Some nice counter warding, though, from Unicorns of Love. They've at least gotten a bit of vision control back over their side of the map. Darshan a little bit less safe pushing forward here. He doesn't really have any ward protection, and that's why we see him, pulling off here.
Yeah, this play earlier, he had the protection from the wards. It was kind of surprising that CLG went so ham on that tier 2 tower. They didn't really need to. They could have just kept clearing, kept the pressure from Darshan, wait for somebody of their team to clear in that top wave. They kind of rush the play, and then you lose the momentum, you lose the vision control. They're still significantly in the lead, and any mistake here from Unicorns will get punished.
Speaking of getting punished, Darshan grabbed, thrown into the box right there. A lot of damage coming in from Dizzy Chachi as well. Darshan looking for something. Teleport coming in. That's not going to be a place you want to go to.
Lag?
I think that may have been supposed to be a flash.
yeah, I mean his flash is still up.
Yeah, wrong summoner.
It's F for flash, not D for flash. We saw it right here.
Yeah.
And here comes the play. Great body slam flash. He's going to land that one properly. He knows how it's done.
The revenge of CLG, a rocket from Stixay, and they get 2 kills. What else can they get here?
Yeah, CLG getting vision denial around the Baron area forces the Unicorns of Love to kind of like ponder around that brush there. And as Julius is going in, Stixay kind of steel back router kind of oversteps. You have to respect body slam flash as an AD carry.
True. Tier 2 down in bot lane, taken down in favor of Unicorns of Love. CLG going for this Baron, though. Uhi guarding on the side. I don't think that Unicorns of Love knows this is going on. No, they do. Teleport coming in. Can they
good
stop
play.
it, though? Hill saying a little bit caught. Uhi backing away. This could give CLG the time they need. Baron is down. CLG takes it. And they should be able to get away fairly safely.
All right, Baron for nothing. Well done by Counterlogic Gaming. Good call and good sort of defense by Hui to keep the team away.
Yeah, as Jilj is going in, your Steelback should not move forward. Like, your jungler is about to check. It's Lee Sin. You can sacrifice him to an extent. He can ward. Maybe has flash, but...
Yeah, he walked up the blue trinket, the Baron pit, instead of like the brush he's about to face check into, so he wasn't even thinking about his surroundings.
Yeah.
That's what happens to you.
Well, Stixay performing yet again in game 2, 4-3 and 6 on this Jinx. A couple little awkward moments, but overall a very good opening performance. And his first match here at IEM for CLG, and they're going to go ahead and take their 3rd dragon. Still 0 dragons for Unicorns of Love.
And I think what we can take away from the series is just that CLG's communication is on point. Even if you disagree with the certain plays they made, they were still making them as a team.
Yeah. Everyone still seems to be on the same page. That really seems true.
Whether the book is written well or not,
yeah,
it's definitely they're all on the same page here. So bottom lane now the target. Of course, 6 turrets are down right now. Top lane has a couple more, but Smithy hooked around, gets ignited, but he's still fairly tanky. Finally does go down. Aphromoo pretty damaged in the front line now as well. That's actually a big overextension. That time they were on the same page of the wrong book.
Yeah, and this was CLG trying to catch out Vizichachi. They saw him move into the brush, so they tried to punish him. What they forgot was that Darshan was in the top lane with no teleport. Even though he died in the bot lane, maybe he didn't report to his team that he actually accidentally teleported on a minion, but 4v5 forced by CLG.
Well, I mean, at least Darshan gets the top lane tier 2. He's able to put a little bit of pressure on the inhibitor turret. So it's not like they didn't get anything out of it, but certainly one of the messier moments for CLG here in game 2.
All right, a lot of time still to go then for these guys as they lose a lot of the benefit of their Baron buff. They finally knocked down top tier 2 though. That's a bit more. Now Stixay again doing his best double up impression. Overextended, has nowhere to go.
No kidding, man.
He will flash and he's here.
Yeah, but not quite soon enough, and he may get taken out as well too. Goes into the Dragon Pit.
They know which one's real.
Chasing. He's going to chase the right one. Taken. Taken down finally. There we go.
All right, so a 2-for-1, but it still means that Darshan has time up in this top lane, so CLG kind of doing the opposite of what they used to do. Hotshot would overextend, he'd get picked off, the team would kill turrets. Now it's Darshan having his team overextend, he gets turrets.
Yeah, Stixay certainly looking like he's taking a page out of Doublelift's playbook there.
Yeah.
But it does get them another turret and an inhibitor turret, now 2 vulnerable in favor of CLG. Slowly but surely just grinding away at Unicorns of Love. But we talked about it before. We're only 30 minutes into the game right now, but as it goes longer, Unicorns of Love gets scarier and scarier, and here's a great example.
Gangplank with the Avarice Blade, practically first item there. That's stacking up. 3 item, and it's the greedy high damage 3 item build for the 80 carry as well. So Steelback does ridiculous amounts of damage with this one, the Last Whisper third here. So there is a lot of threat absolutely for Unicorns of Love. CLG can't screw this up.
Yeah, and in an explosive fight, Unicorns can actually kill the key members of CLG.
Oh, definitely.
They're all squishy, realistically here.
And you've got to be at least a little bit worried if you're on CLG right now that the last 5 minutes or so of the game have certainly not been going like you would have wished.
And even with the Baron, the gold lead is still that same 3,000 gold. Like, even though I feel like, to me, it's looked like CLG has like done more, the scoreboard does not really reflect that, other than the fact that the Dragons have ticked up slightly since the last time we checked. But mid inhibitors back up. Unicorns of Love can get wards back up.
And the difference is Hylissang is actually comfortable in this game, 0, 2, and 10, and he can actually pick himself up some defensive items. So when he does go for these plays where he tries to trade himself, he can do so in a more efficient fashion. Last game, he just got immediately bopped every single team fight. And right now, he can actually survive quite a while with the Locket and force people to really focus him and then at a cost.
Yeah, well, Hylissang got caught over and over and over again in game 1. Got caught at the beginning of this game, too. Since then, has seemed to have cleaned up things quite a bit.
Yeah, or his team finally started playing around him because many of the plays that he went for were, in theory, acceptable. Maybe not some of the board plays.
That's a lot of damage on the Fox there.
Fox having a flash away from that one. Still only level 14, doesn't have the low enough cooldown ulti to get away before the chain would have triggered. And that's just not a good thing to have happen. Losing your flash on a simple trade of, you know, just for some minions. Stix has to be a bit careful. The barrel comes over. Oh, it doesn't connect in time. I think it was out of range for that one.
Like Smithy still takes quite a bit of damage. He's going to bring the bomb to his team. Meanwhile, Dashawn gets the top inhibitor, and he's moving towards the Nexus. CLG chooses that moment to turn. They're going to take down Gilius, and CLG is going to get themselves probably 2 inhibitors out of this.
Yeah, Darshan's still going. Yoda's Ghost Blade already activated for the attack speed, so really getting a lot of progress here.
Oh,
Continue to play aggressive. It's a 5v4. I mean, how much can you really defend this as Unicorns of Love?
You can't defend it. And that's 2 inhibitors down, just like that. In the end, they forgot about Darshan, and that's 2 inhibitors taken by the CLG top laner. Unicorns of Love with a bit of a desperation push coming out of the bot lane now. Xsmithy low health, but as long as he stays safe, CLG should be able to press this advantage.
All right, so 5,000 gold up, double inhibitor down, and those will be dead for both the Dragon and the Baron coming back up. I don't see how I mean, they could, but I don't see how CLG could screw that one up. At this point, they're pretty much guaranteed those next 2 major objectives, which should signal an end game push.
And for me, plays like these are just very enjoyable to watch. No real altercations, just pressure play, left and right. You force people to make a predictable play. Like CLG was putting the Unicorns in an impossible spot. Either they try to 1v1 Darshan, they can't, so they need to send 2, which leaves 4v3 in the bottom. The only play they have is to hard engage on the remaining 4 members of CLG in the bottom. CLG reads that, they disengage. But when they realize that Unicorns are catching on what they're doing, they turn. They just kill one of them extra. Allows another inhibitor to be taken down. So many layers moving back and forth here for CLG, showing that the framework is still there. Good shot calling.
Well, Hylissang goes for a grab, doesn't quite land it. They want to keep CLG from taking this Baron. It's going to be up in 30 seconds. About 20 seconds till that next Dragon.
Curious they're not doing Dragon first, since it'd be pretty easy to pick up and it's 12 seconds before the Baron. They just don't seem to care about that. Whoa, wow, a ton of damage on a Fox. He did not need to be right there. Stixay does plenty of damage himself. Rocket jump to get away. Couple of kicks.
Well, with Fox out of the way, CLG may just be able to push this into base. Darshan taking a lot of damage against Fizzy Chachi, but here comes Hui. A lot of damage back onto Fizzy Chachi again. Meanwhile, the fight up by the top inhibitor, where it used to be Hillsong separated from his team, and CLG takes down Gilius as well in just a moment. Maybe, not, I guess they won't. They'll go after Sillyback, the 80 carry, more valuable. There's a double kill coming in for Stixay, and with that, only Gilius lives through the fight, and CLG is going to take a 2-0 here at IEM San Jose on day 1. They will advance to day 2 as they take down the Nexus. Don't even need that second Baron, and that is it. GG for CLG.
2 33-minute victories, and Counter Logic Gaming, just like Team Solo Mid, have 2-0'd their quarterfinal opponents here in day 1. Definitely good redemption matches for how bad North America played during the World Championship, going 0-10 in the second week of the group stages. Starting out strong here, getting past the first round at all is better than NA's done in a while in international tournaments. So good to see these guys come up with a new roster that many people thought were downgrades kind of across the board here, but looking like pretty much the same CLG.
Yeah, it's just we have to wait until Stixay gets challenged in lane. I think that's because in terms of macro play, the role Doublelift would have had in a team that plays a similar style right now is what Stixay can deliver, but it's when they get challenged in lane right now before all these rotations starts happening. That's where maybe we can see the difference between Doublelift and Stixay. As for Huhi, I think he did a good job so far. He hasn't been playing the utility roles that the CLG kind of put Povelt around. So one could argue that it's a side grade or someone on the same level, and we'll have to really see what the loss of a star player like Doublelift does to CLG, but perhaps what they gain in team atmosphere, in a fresh start, in the environment, may be enough to put them in a higher level.
Well, I actually saw Smithy